6:30. I'm going to open the regular meeting of the Plympton Planning Board. So we don't have any public hearings or anything like that on the agenda. We can just open it up for new business. So that would be you. If you could just state your name, identify yourself.
Yep, Jeff Perrette, 387 Main Street and 399 Main Street.
And I remember you came in a while ago. So do you guys remember this is the situation with the solar that was approved at 399? Okay.
This is the updated delineation
Ooh la la.
and the new layout.
That's a lot. Okay, so this is, was all, plan depicting a solar layout on 387? Is that-
Yes, ma'am.
And so this is where you want to move the solar that's at 399?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, but because this is a new site, essentially, we're going to need all the same documents in order to approve this that we would need, for the original solar application, and it needs to get reviewed by our consulting review engineer. And there's a application filing fee and everything. That's assuming we would treat it as a new thing, or what?
Yeah, right, we've never seen an application on the site for a solar field.
Right.
Right, so it is essentially a new site plan application. The fact that he's moving it from another site is sort of irrelevant to our rules and regulations.
I have a question, even if both pieces of property can be merged together?
Because the review that was done, well, actually, you take it, because you're the engineer.
So several years ago, we did a review on your neighboring parcel, and I went through the full process where we did stormwater management review, site plan review, all the stuff that we cover, and that was approved, and time has passed, and now, from what I understand, you're looking to take some of the solar that was supposed to go there to move it to this abutting parcel, which was recently purchased and merged with that, right? Even if both parcels were combined at the time of the original application, you still have to come in and modify your site plan approval.
Okay.
But we have nothing here. Now, this is like a virgin, in a sense, it's a brand-new application because it's a parcel that is considered for this use. So, if you have a reputable engineer, you know the process. I hope it doesn't, I don't anticipate it's going to.
Yeah, and
And to be honest with you, the issues that cause us the most pause is sightlines, because no one wants to see them. And I think that's probably half your battle there.
Yeah, thankfully I am my own abutter, and then the one next to me, it's all wooded.
So that should be an easy argument to make.
Right.
And then we do have a consultant engineer that's going to look at it primarily for stormwater management. You're outside the 100-foot buffer.
Yes, sir.
Has that wetland delineation been approved by the Conservation Commission?
Yes, sir.
okay. So, hold on a second. Okay, so yeah, primarily it's the sight lines that comes up to be an issue, and then also stormwater management. So you need the stormwater management analysis. So what you're going to need is if you look on the planning board website, and your engineer should be able to, this is Grady?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Grady knows everything that we require. They've permitted a lot of stuff before us. So you're going to need the actual application form filled out with the supporting materials. There are requirements that are in the zoning bylaw for what you're supposed to provide. And then there's site plan review regulations on the website for the additional things that you're supposed to provide. Some things we don't normally require for solar projects that are in the regulations, because the regulations cover any kind of site plan review. If it's a site plan review for a restaurant, we want a traffic review, but we don't usually require traffic review for solar projects. But so it's just important that when you get all the materials together, you're going to have your engineer give us a letter that says, I want a waiver from providing a traffic review. I want a waiver from providing, whatever other things that you don't think are applicable to solar. You have to specifically ask for the waiver, though. Or else what happens is the review engineer reviews the project and says, they didn't give this, this, and this, and then you respond and say, I need a waiver, and it just makes everything take longer. But if you say up front, I want a waiver from these things, it cuts the time involved for you, because I know you want to get this done, right? Does anybody have any specific thoughts or comments that they want to make to help?
I just reiterate screening. I see you have some trees there, some pine trees. What other folks have done is they create a small berm, maybe a little berm that's 4 feet up and they have trees on top of that. Give you some added screening.
I'm not sure if Rick specified, but those are 10 to 12 foot arborvitaes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much higher you want me to.
And that's where we like. That's where we want to see. We need to see like a section like across. Is there a home across Main Street? Right. So assuming there's right. So from their second floor window, looking across the street through your property, will they see this or not?
No, because it goes.
And that's what you need to prove to us.
Yeah,
Okay.
the engineer will do something, it's called a sight line, right?
Mhm.
Did I do that right? So your engineer will generate a plan that shows from these people's windows, you can't see down into it from those directions.
And
And they know about that, they've done it for other projects before.
And there's a solar field right down the street from this that was finished a few years ago, and we're still discussing with them the screening that they put in, because they put plantings in that died, things like that. So we don't want to have this conversation with you in 2 years from now. We want it to go, you want it to go as successful as we do, or vice versa.
Yes, sir.
So, I think this is a better site
Yeah.
than,
So are you removing entirely, or just a portion of what's happening next door?
Entirely.
Entirely? And that makes up, because that was spread out, the other one was kind of spread out, right?
Yeah, it was spread out over 7 acres, and it's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it's not a good look for that farm. That's the gateway to Plympton. The last
Yeah,
thing I
yeah.
wanted to see is
Yeah.
plastic on the ground. But 387, it's isolated.
Yep.
And there's already old growth around it, so
It-
to us it's a better
Yeah.
location. I think for everyone it makes the most sense.
You had last year they had a vegetable stand out front, right? If I remember correctly.
No.
No, I'm thinking of a different property.
That might
that's the
be-
one up here.
Is that
They
it up
had
there?
the plants.
Yeah,
Next
okay.
door, they
Alright.
have a plant thing.
Right. Yeah, I'll take a closer look on that job.
Do you guys have any questions?
I thought the last time solar people were in, they said the grid wouldn't support any more solar. Is this part of the original?
I think because they're going to eliminate the one that was approved on 399.
That was part of the.
And then make this one that the two cancel each other out,
Okay.
so it stays the same. Do you know anything about that, or no? I would think, because 399 was approved quite a while ago, So it's in the queue to get the electricity. And if what they're doing is essentially just shifting it over here, it's still in the queue.
Okay.
That's just my guess. I don't know for sure.
I don't know what the guarantees are. I mean, this has been going on since, what, 2018, 2019? So
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And will you have some kind of battery storage or some kind of structure out there for this?
I think,
Because, it may not be on the plan yet, but
Yeah,
that should be on the plan.
yeah, there may be, I did see something on the old
Mhm.
Lio. There was maybe like a 10 by 20 area for
Yeah.
battery possibly.
Yeah, so just capture everything you're gonna need.
Yeah, and especially with that, because for the stormwater, if they're, correct me if I'm wrong, not the engineer, but if they're gonna put that on like a cement pad, that's impervious, and then you calculate whether there's gonna be any runoff from that or anything. I mean, it's much better here in terms of the wetlands. I mean, there were more wetlands on that other property, I think, so.
The question I have is, if New Leaf Energy is the solar leasee, if you will, leaser, should they be filling out the application, or can I do that for them? In other words, I don't want to step on their toes, but at the same time, they need to see that this is gonna essentially get approved for them to
Right.
vacate that other lease and shift it over this one.
Right. So technically, I mean, you could do it one of two ways, okay? You could be the applicant, you could obtain the approval, conditional on them agreeing to accept it,
Correct.
and then we could have a provision in there that, in the approval, that says, you're going to assign this approval to New Leaf Energy. Or you could have them be the applicant, you're on the application as the owner, because the application itself has two boxes. And then the permit would essentially be issued to them, right? If you do it with you as the applicant and the owner, you don't have to deal with, necessarily as much participation by them, right? If you make them the applicant, then they're probably going to want to potentially micromanage the whole thing. So my point is, you could do it either way, whatever you think is going to work best for you based on whatever relationship and experience you have with them. For example, just based on my own permitting experiences, if you can't get people to get back to you within a reasonable amount of time, maybe you want to be the applicant, because then you can be in control of the time frame. And what we try to do is, we try to move this process along, but invariably what happens is, our review engineer will review, he'll have comments, then it goes to the applicant and the applicant's engineer to respond. And that's where delay can happen,
It seems more streamlined if it's just two engineers working with each other instead of 8 engineers.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But at the same, I'm not giving you legal advice, right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
But at the same time, as long as the New Leaf people know what's in the pipeline,
Yeah.
maybe it's better if it's you and not them.
Right.
Because we can definitely include language that says, you're gonna, assign this to New Leaf, and then they'll have the permit. We can do that. Do you have any questions, Joanne?
No, I'm just looking at the heights, that's all.
Yeah, so you'll have a grading plan that comes with the application as to be part of the submission. Because it looks like the out there's got some fill, various contours and things like that. which-
Yeah, some piles that need to get removed.
And I mean, honestly, as long as you landscape it nicely, I mean, you've got the event space, right? So you're not going to want to see it anyway.
No,
You know what I mean? It's in nobody's interest to see this.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be doing is looking out a barn window and seeing solar panels.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's to my advantage to make sure the screen is thick, if you will.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? No? Okay, so then mechanically, what'll happen is this. You'll get the application materials together. You have to physically, Grady has to bring them physically in here
Okay.
with the check for the application fees and the check. We have, you pay for the review engineer's fees because the town of Plympton doesn't pay for that. That comes from you. And then at the end, if there's anything left for the review engineer, that goes back to you. So we ask for like $3,000 for his fees. If it ends up costing more, you have to put more into that kitty.
Yep.
But in the end, the escrow goes back to the applicant. When you bring the application in with all the materials, and especially the check, can't take it without the check, we send you away, we will notice a public hearing. The public hearing has to be published in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks, the first of which is not less than 14 days before the hearing date. So if you bring it in, like, on the 5th, we wouldn't be able to do it. Like, if you brought it in today, we couldn't do it at the next one because there's not enough newspaper time.
Yep.
It would have to be the first meeting in June.
Okay.
But then you would come in, you would present the materials, the abutters would be present because they would get notice. The review engineer will have it. It's very unlikely that he'll have finished his comments between the time that you file and the hearing, because, as I said, we try to do that quickly. But he'll probably have them, within another week or 2 after that. And then you'll review them with your engineer, come back with your revisions. We'll continue it to a later date for the comments. And, if everything works out and the comments all get resolved, it's conceivable that it could be done in, maybe 3 meetings. But again, the ball ends up kind of in your engineer's court, depending on how busy they are. So if the goal is to get this approved, I think a realistic time frame, probably, like if you brought it in, if you had all the stuff and you brought it in at the first meeting in June, and everybody worked real hard on your side, conceivably it could be done by September. What do you think? Is that overly optimistic? July, August, September, end of September?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, as long as you make sure you keep on it and the engineer doesn't get sidetracked with other projects. So for a time frame, sometimes we have people, it takes 2 to 3 years, but that's because,
They don't respond.
yeah. But I don't think you're that way, so, it's in your interest to get this done, so. Do you have any more questions for us?
No, so hypothetically, if Rick could get this application in, when's the next meeting?
2 weeks from today.
May 19th.
2 weeks from today? So could I could submit it at the next meeting or before, it just wouldn't publish?
Yeah, you have to submit it at a meeting.
Okay.
Because we don't have any staff.
Okay.
So if you were to submit it on the,
19th, our hearing, we have a June 2nd meeting.
but we couldn't do that because the time frame's not enough to
Right,
put the
so-
notice in the newspaper,
So
so
June 16th,
June 16th.
and then it'd be July 7th and July 21st.
Yeah, we meet the first and the third Tuesday of every month at 6:30, except for August when we try to only meet once.
Okay.
But we like a little summer vacation.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so we are always here on the first or the third Tuesday, and you're always welcome to come in,
Okay.
whichever one works out in terms of getting all the stuff together.
Okay. So try to have it in for the 19th.
Yeah, if you do that for the 19th, then we could put it on for the, what did you say, June 16th?
June 16th.
16th. To get the ball rolling. Personally, I think it's a better site than the other site,
I do too.
You know.
That's condensed, tucked away in the woods.
right? it's a much better option. So, and we're here to work with you.
Thank you. It's the path to yes, right? Isn't that what it is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it will be better overall, I really think, so. Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Okay, so let's see. Did anybody do minutes for the last meeting that I wasn't here at because I had to be on the Rowley Conservation Commission? What day was that? That was April.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Did we do that? That's a good question.
We started at 6:30, we accepted the plans, and then we closed at 6:38.
See, the one day that I can't be at a meeting, the meeting's only 6 minutes long.
Here's my details right there.
Yeah, he did really good.
I got the date.
What was the date of it?
4/28.
All right, so can somebody type those up or write them down?
Sure, I'll write them down.
Okay.
So it was an A and R?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, and we have a plan on record, so somewhere downstairs. maybe?
No, I have it in my hand.
Oh, great, okay.
Were submitted with a check. What else did I get? AR plan, A Form A, separate lot, into 2 lots. So that was the approval.
Okay.
All right.
We have some correspondence. We have correspondence from the Carver.
Did we approve meeting notes for April 7th?
Did you do that at your last
We
meeting?
did not.
No.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's stop with the correspondence and go back. Hold on a second. Okay, so what was the date of that?
April 7th.
April 7. Meeting minutes. All right, I sent those to everybody. I move that we approve the meeting minutes of April 7th. Is there a second? You can do it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. Okay, so then I'm going to say that you are going to draft up for April 28th, and we will vote on those at the next meeting. Okay, so we have something here from the town of Carver. Does that say that's anything?
It's a notification, it's a public hearing notice for May 12th from the Office of Planning and Community Development for a special permit to construct an indoor golf simulator.
Ooh.
Do what?
Balls, baseball, balls,
Golf.
Softball, indoor golf.
golf ball simulator.
Okay, so I think Jay would like that piece of paper. Would you like to do some indoor golf?
You have to
And
go
then we
with the-
have something from Pembroke. I want to say what that is.
It's a legal notice to abutters, notice of a public hearing on May 11th for an application, special permit application to continue the operation of an existing restaurant under new ownership.
Okay, that's not,
No.
nobody cares about that.
No.
And then we have one more from the town of Pembroke.
From the Pembroke Planning Board Office, legal notice to abutters for a public hearing on May 18th for site plan approval and special permit to construct 13 detached multifamily buildings at 660 Washington Street.
I don't know where that is.
There's another one here too. Second notification to abutters for a public hearing, site plan approval to construct 2,800 square foot addition to the public library.
Oh. Anyone have any interest in any of those?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then I move,
Wait, one more.
oh,
The email.
oh, that's right, okay, so that, I guess that should go on its own. So, we received the email correspondence about email addresses. Joanne, why don't you say what, you went and talked, right?
Talked to Bridget, and I talked to the man that runs the computer department of the town, and I got us an email with the password set up. And we just need to have someone check it.
An email for all of us? One email? I mean, one account? Oh,
Yes.
great. Beautiful.
And she sent the email and the password to everybody. You sent it to everybody, right?
I will, yes.
Okay, sorry, I thought you did.
But here's my question. Do we go on the town email and use it?
I don't know.
He gave me this. He said, go on mail.plymptontown.org. I'm assuming that's a website. John.
Sounds like one.
Then it says, when you go from there, you go to planning at planningplymptontown.org, and then the password. None of them worked for me. So then I went on the town website and tried the same thing, and my password wasn't involved yet, or it wasn't updated yet. So I'll keep trying and let you know when I get on?
Ask them to send you a link to that.
Okay,
Have them email you a link,
all right.
and then you can just ping it, and you should bring it right there.
Thank you.
And then you can send that to all of us, and then we
Yes.
can all have it.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we will be all set with that. So thank you very much for doing that, because I don't have the ability to do that kind of stuff. Okay, so that was our last thing. I'm going to move that we adjourn at 6:57. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Right?
Okay, so this is adjourned at 6:57.